power, not toilet paper.
I was just gonna say you got your mojo back, and but then no.
Nope. Because I remember what happened yesterday. It's the TP part against me.
Hmm.
Am I the a hole? So we have enough time to actually do two of them. So let me go ahead and get this really old one. I mean, it's not so old that it would be equated to today, but I've had it for a while. So my mother
Mhm.
disrespects my stepchildren.
Child, I'm a 32-year-old woman, and I've been with my wife, Ava, who's 34, for 8 years now. We've been married for 5 years. She was a single mom of 3 kids when we started dating. She had 2 daughters who are now 10 and 12, and a son who's now 16. I've watched these kids grow up. I've read them bedtime stories, done bath time, the first day of school, PTA meetings, all of it. I very much consider them to be my kids, and they've been calling me mom for almost 6 years now. My brother Ivan, who's 28, just had a baby girl with his fiancée Sarah. I love my niece, and my kids adore their cousin. My kids have been the only grandkids on my side of the family since Ava and I got together, and there's never been a moment where the kids and my wife were treated like we didn't belong. My brother is their uncle, my mom and dad are their nana and pop, and the kids see my family as their family, and I always thought that my family felt the same way about them. The kids and I were over at my brother's house just hanging out, and my parents ended up dropping by with gifts for my niece. My brother Ivan laughed when he saw the toys and told our mom and dad that they were going to end up spoiling her rotten. My mom said that since my niece is their first grandchild, of course they have to spoil her. My kids were sitting in the living room with all of us, and my youngest daughter looked hurt when she realized what my mother said. My son and my 12-year-old didn't fully react to it, but I could tell that it bothered the both of them, too. Sarah spoke up and said, "Oh, you mean first grandbaby, not first grandchild." My dad shook his head no and replied that my niece was their first grandchild. I didn't want my kids to keep sitting there and listening to that, so I handed my son my keys and told him to wait in the car with his sisters. When they were gone, I asked my parents why the hell they'd say that my kids weren't their grandchildren. And my mom said that they couldn't be their grandchildren because they weren't really my children. My wife and I were going to be hosting Thanksgiving at our house this year. But I told my parents that if they didn't view my kids as their family, then they could just host a meal at their own house with their real family while I spent the holiday with mine. I left before they could say anything else to me. And my wife and I have reiterated to our kids that they will always be my kids, and I will always be their other mom, regardless of our DNA. My brother is pissed at me now because he thinks that I reacted too harshly, and that I should try to see where my parents are coming from. My mom texted saying that she and my dad love my kids, but they still aren't their grandkids. And she hopes that we can come to understand that because she doesn't want to ruin my niece's first Thanksgiving. Wow, okay. I haven't replied back. I meant what I said, but I'm worried that maybe I'm reacting too harshly.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I really honestly don't have to go first every time. Y'all can jump in.
That's how do you gonna tell them you're not our grandchild? Oh my gosh, people, we love them, but they're not. What the? This is your nomination for worst people of the year, right?
No, that's bad, but it ain't the worst.
Right.
Trust me. I haven't came across one in a while, even the blatant psychopath, but I mean, he's up there, but it's too many questions to be asked, so I can't put him on there yet. But okay, here's the deal. I only have one biological child, and I say biological. That being said, I have 5 kids. you are going to treat each child as my child. Period. There will not be a discussion on it. It ain't up to you to decide it. Now, this is going to shock a lot of people. The grandparents has every right to feel the way they feel because they're going biological. They're not going by love and everything, which is the most BS thing they freaking say, but whatever. But they're going biological. So in their instance, because blood ain't blood and everything else, they're not really my grandchildren. I mean, I can say they're my grandchildren, but they're really not my grandchildren. They're let's be truthful about it. They're your husband's children. They're not my grandchildren. They're not even your children.
They're your wife's children.